The steps involved in the formation of the company are promotion, incorporation, capital subscription, and commencement of business. That means there are 4 steps or 4 stages in formation of the company. But again there's a catch. What is the catch? This line. A private company has to go only first 2 steps, whereas a public company has to undergo all the 4 stages. Coming to the first step, that is promotion. Now what is promotion? Promotion means conceiving a business opportunity, grabbing a business opportunity, and taking an initiative to form a company. Clear? What is promotion? Promotion is nothing but promotion is the grabbing of a business opportunity, taking up the business opportunity, and making a step forward to form a company. Clear? Now there are certain steps in promotion. Let's go into that. The first one is identification of business opportunity. So the first and the foremost step of a promoter is to identify the business idea. That means he has to get an idea in his mind, a new idea, a unique idea with which he can start up his business. The idea can be related to the production of any new product. The idea can be related to production of any new service. But first step is that the idea has to come up in the minds of the promoter. Clear? The next one, feasibility studies. Now what is feasibility studies? After receiving or after getting the idea in the mind, actually the promoter has to check or he has to see whether incorporating that idea is actually possible or not. Clear? He will check the technical aspects, he will check the financial aspects, he will check the economic aspects. Through all these different ways, he will check and he will be sure whether to take forward this idea or not. Clear? He will see whether techniques are proper available. If I take up this idea, do I have proper finance to start this idea? Okay, so that way he will check all the aspects, he will check the feasibility, and if he is satisfied, he will move on with the further steps. So what is the next step? The next step is the name approval. So he will decide a name and submit an application to the registrar of the company. Remember, in the last lecture we said that a name should be such which is not similar to any of the existing companies, isn't it? So over here the promoter has to take or has to choose a very different name which is not common to any of the existing companies. Clear? And then he will submit it to the registrar. Now what is the registrar? It is the office where all this checking or submission of documents are done related to the companies. Clear? Next one, fixing up the signatories to the memorandum of association. Now we have learnt about the document called as memorandum of association. So in this step of promotion, we need to decide that who or which director will be signing the memorandum of association. Okay, fixing up the signatories. Next one, appointment of professional. So the promoter will now appoint the auditors who are required to check the books of accounts. The documents or the accounts which the company is preparing, that has to be regularly checked. So for that checking, we have discussed there has to be an auditor. Auditor is nothing but he is a checker of the books of accounts. He will check whether the gross profit is correct or not, whether you haven't hidden any kind of loans, you have put all your expenses properly or not. So this auditing, this checking will be done by the auditor, and so the promoter will be appointing the auditor here. And the last step is preparation of the necessary documents. So the promoter will prepare the documents such as memorandum of association, articles of association, which has to be submitted to the registrar of companies. Clear? So this was all about the promotion step. I will repeat what happens in the promotion step. First, the promoter has to get a unique idea in his mind. That idea can be related to any product, it can be related to any service. Then he will check various aspects. He will check whether his idea is feasible to be incorporated in reality or not. After that, he will decide the name of the company. He will decide who will sign the memorandum of association. He will appoint the professionals like auditors, and then he will prepare the necessary documents. Clear? Okay. So this was all about the first step, that is the promotion step. Now moving forward to the next step of formation of the company, and that is the incorporation stage. Now what is the incorporation stage? In incorporation stage, there is the registration of the company. In features we have learnt now that it is very essential, or it is compulsory for the company, for a joint stock company, to get itself registered, isn't it? So from that only comes this incorporation stage. That means over here actually the company will get itself registered. Under what? Under which act? Under the Companies Act. And once it gets registered, it will receive the certificate of incorporation. Clear? Now what are the steps, actual steps? Let's look into it. Application for incorporation means over here the promoter will put an application that it wants to get its company incorporated. It wants to get its company registered. And where will it put the registration? It will put the application to the registrar of the companies. Clear? Okay. Now after it puts the application, it will file the necessary documents. File the necessary documents means submit the necessary documents. Documents like MOA, AOA, the statement of authorized capital, that is how much will be the authorized capital that they are planning to put in, the consent of the proposed director. Now what is this consent? See, while discussing the above step, I told na, this one, fixing up the signatories to the memorandum of association. That means a promoter has to find a director who will sign the memorandum of association, and once he signs the memorandum of association, it is as if the director is giving his allowance, he is putting up his consent, isn't it? So that only will be presented over here, consent of the proposed director. Clear? Agreement with the proposed managing director. So it will be signed maybe by the original director and also by the managing director. Clear? So what is the second step? He will submit the necessary documents. After that, a registration fees has to be paid, which depends on the authorized capital. So there is a limit. If your authorized capital, for example, is below 50 lakh, you have to pay such and such amount. If it is above 50 lakh to 1 crore, you have to pay this amount. If it's above 1 crore, you have to pay this and this amount. Understood? Then the real step, that is about the registration. The registrar verifies all the documents submitted, and if he is satisfied, then he enters the name of the company in his register. And once the company's name is entered in the register, the company is finally getting its registration. Clear? Then once the company is getting its registration, it will get the certificate of incorporation. That is, after entering the name of the company in the register, the registrar issues a certificate of incorporation, and this certificate is called as the birth certificate of the company. Which company? The company which is registered. It gets a registration certificate, it gets a certificate of incorporation. Clear? So with the completion of this step, that means after the second step, automatically the private company will come into existence. But what about the public company? The public company still has to go through 2 more stages in order to make its company into existence. So that is all for today. We'll meet you in the next video. Thank you.